Hi guys, there's lots of exciting things going on in the garden today. I have some zucchinis to show you, some cucumbers to show you, some strawberries to show you. So lots of exciting things going on. Grab a cup of coffee, have a seat, and go for a walk with me. And also, if you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. It will help me out a lot. Thank you. So we're going to start with the food garden as usual, and like I mentioned before, I'm using the cardboard in between to get the soil ready for next year to help encourage biodiversity and to avoid having weeds there. Over here we have our zucchini bed. So far I have mostly male flowers, not very many female flowers, and that's okay. And you can tell the difference between a male flower and a female flower because like this one here, you can see it has a tiny fruit on it. That is a female flower. This fruit won't necessarily turn into a zucchini until it's pollinated. And this one, as you can see, does not have a little fruit on it. So that is a male flower. So once this one, the female, opens up, it needs a male flower to pollinate it. So you have to have both. Over here, and this is exciting, this is my 8-ball zucchini plant. This is my first year growing these, and I hand pollinated this one this year, or this week, and it looks like it's getting bigger. Let's see if the camera would focus. But yeah, so that is very exciting. That's going to be my first zucchini, so hopefully in a week or two that'll be ready. And we haven't had as many bees this year, so I did put some bee food out near my bee hotel that I'll show you guys in a little bit, and you can buy those right off Amazon, or I'm sure they have them on Etsy as well. This is my my tomato bed, and there's some water in here that's dripping. So it's just natural rainwater from the other day that got caught in the top of it. And I also have the pumpkins in here that are doing really well. Let's take a look over here. And you can see the pumpkins and the tomatoes seem to do really well together. I don't know what it is about these plants, but they really cohabitate well together. And the last time when I accidentally planted tomatoes with the pumpkins, they were the sweetest tomatoes that I've ever had. So we have some little marigolds popping up in there, which is good. The marigolds help keep insects and pests away. They'll keep things like mites and other bugs like that like to eat the plants. Those bugs don't like the marigolds, so that will repel them, which is good. Over here we have our lettuce. Our romaine is doing really well. And as you can see, my Swiss chard on this side is doing really well, especially because I thought that Swiss chard was going to die. It was some of the stuff I planted from seeds that went into shock after I moved them from the house. Or planted them outside. Our other lettuce bed here, again, more Swiss chard is doing really well. And then we have our red salad bowl here that I got when we were on vacation that is doing really well, and that is a great addition to our greens that we get every week. And over here we have kale that is staying kind of small. I think it was having some mite damage, so I did spread some marigold seeds in here that'll hopefully pop up and help repel those mites a little bit. We have our cucumbers. So we have our little cucumber plant there, these ones. And oh, look, we have a female flower here that's opened up. We have a male flower there. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to set up the camera so that I can show you how to cross-pollinate. So to self-pollinate these plants, you need a male flower, like this one I have here. I don't know if you can see, oh, there it is. It's hard to see the camera right now because it's kind of in the sunlight. But as you can see, there's no fruit on this one. So this is a male flower. And this one right here is a female flower. So what you do to self-pollinate these is you're going to take the outer leaves off like this, and it leaves just the pollen on the inside there. And then you're going to take this and you're going to put it inside of the female flower, like this. And when you do that, you want to look and make sure that you can see that there's pollen going on to the center part of this flower. And that will guarantee us a cucumber. And you do zucchinis the same way. And so I just do this a few times and it works. I've always had luck doing it this way. I've never had one not work. So just make sure there's lots of pollen in there. And there's that. And I'll show you some of the ones that I self-pollinated the other day too. So the other day I pollinated this one. And as you can see, this fruit on here is bigger than the fruit on the one I just pollinated, and that's because it's had time to grow since I pollinated it, which means my pollination was successful. And then same with this one over here. You can see it through the bars there, this one. It's a little bit bigger because the pollination was successful. So yeah, in a few weeks we'll have a few cucumbers coming. And then with cucumbers, usually once they start, they don't stop. We'll have lots of cucumbers. So over here, our sunflowers are doing great. I just love these. And then we have our watermelons down here that are a good companion with the sunflowers. Our watermelons don't have any buds on them yet, but that's fine. They're usually a late summer fruit because they like the heat. And this is New York, so obviously it doesn't get hot here until later, so these will probably be August that we see those. And here we have more tomatoes. The center plant is doing really good. And then again, where I have the pumpkins, this tomato plant back there, that was really looking kind of sad the other day, or before I put the pumpkins in, it was looking kind of sad. And now it's nice and green and healthy. And again, I don't know what it is about the pumpkins, but they love each other. So hopefully these all do really great. Over here we have our squash bed. That I took the cover off this because I was having some issues with the white powdery mildew. And that's what this is white powdery mildew. And usually what I do is if I see a leaf like this that has it on there, I just break it off and toss it away from the bed so it won't spread. But yeah, I was having some issues with that. So I took the cover off to help these air out, and it seems to be helping. So hopefully these will do well. These are starting to get little buds on them. This is my first year growing yellow squash, so it's about like growing zucchini from what I've heard, but still, it's my first time. So, and over here we have our beans that are up on this trellis really well. And like I mentioned in my video yesterday, this trellis is actually made from an old bird cage, and so is the piece that's on the cucumber bed. I repurposed the old bird cage for a trellis, and it's working really well. And I also have these bamboo sticks in the middle for the ones that I planted in the center, but hopefully we'll be getting some green beans soon off these pole bean plants. So over here we have our grapes, and I redid this trellis to make it a little bit more sturdy for the grape plant, and it seems to be working out well. I still want to get another wooden trellis to put behind it, but the grape plant is still small, so this works for now. I have a pumpkin plant down here that I just planted here randomly to see how it would do in this environment, and it seems to be doing okay. The ones that are in with the tomatoes look like they're a little bit happier, but this one is doing all right. Over here we have the strawberries, and I put these little covers on them because I was having issues with either a bird or a chipmunk eating the strawberries, and these covers seem to be working out. I'll take this one off so I can show you guys. They just lift off like that. They're real easy. And there's a gap underneath them so the bees can still get in. Pollinators. But yeah, I had those strawberries the other day that were getting big, and I came out and they were all gone. Something ate them all. So that's why I got the covers. But I have more coming, so it's good. And strawberries are like tomatoes, where they're self-pollinating. So if you haven't seen many pollinators around your strawberries, it's really easy to self-pollinate these, because they pollinate through bugs and even through the wind. So if you look in the center of the strawberry, in the center of the flower, the inside part is the female part, and the outside part of the inside of the flower is the male part. So if you just tap these like this, the pollen will spread and they'll self-pollinate. So if you have covers that the bugs can't get through, or that the bees can't get through, you can self-pollinate just by doing that. And it seems to be working well for me so far. That's how I got the ones in this one to pollinate. Over here is the wild bed that has all the primrose opened up. How beautiful is that? My hostas are starting to get shoots in them. Beautiful. The grape plant that is continuing to get new growth, which is promising. So even if we don't get grapes this year, we will get them probably next year or the year after. Grapes are something that require patience. You don't get grapes the first year you plant it. You get grapes later, 2 or 3 years later. So, and then back here, or right here, we have our sedum, or our stone crop, that flowers in the winter time, or not in winter time, in the fall in September. Our clematis that has yet to get any blossoms on there. We have this growing here that to me looks like almost like a annual bachelor button, but I didn't plant any bachelor buttons here, so we'll see what this is. Either it looks like something intentional, so I'm leaving it to see what it does. So over here, I still need to cut back the irises, but I haven't done that yet because they're still green and alive, so might as well let them stay for a little bit. This is my rose bush, and again, it's hard for me to see the camera right now because of the sun, but this is getting new buds on it. There's another new bud here, and then this one has more buds as well. I love the roses. I just love them. They're so pretty. This little tree is a suckler that I got from the place where I've been volunteering, and it's struggling, but I think it's gonna make it. I've been giving it some TLC, so hopefully this does good. And then this is my red prince that I bought the other day. Sounds like there's an airplane right there. See it? So yeah, this is my red prince that I planted the other week that is done blossoming for the season, and he is doing really well, nice and healthy. I've been slowly getting it to the deadheads on this one. And over here is our yellow bush, which has lots of little yellow flowers on it, doing great. The front of the house. So we have our balloon flowers that just, I always say they grow like 6 inches a week. They're starting to get the buds on them. So soon we'll have those. And like 3 weeks ago, these were way down here. And now they're almost, you know, 2 or 3 feet higher than what they were. Mystery plant that I have to cut back because it looks like it's done for the season, even though it didn't blossom. My hollyhocks that when I planted these this year, they went into shock and I was worried they weren't going to make it. But now look, they're getting some beautiful, beautiful blossoms on them. So, and I think when the balloon flowers blossom and this is blossoming at the same time, that's just going to look so beautiful. We have our annual pot here. My lobelias are struggling a little bit. They're a little bit dry. I think they get a little bit too much sun right here. They like shade, but that's okay. And then, of course, the geraniums are doing great. Hostas are getting shoots on them, which is exciting. They get nice white flowers on these. Irises that they look like they still have buds coming, but I don't know. They don't seem to be doing anything, so that one looks dead. Getting more hostas with shoots coming on them. I love the hostas. I got these petunias from where I volunteer at. One of the ladies that works there, she has a greenhouse and she brought a bunch of petunias to be planted, and she told me I was more than welcome to take some home, so I did. And these are the tidal wave blue, so these will spread and they'll get really big and beautiful. And then there's also this flower that I took home too, but that's not a petunia, so not sure what that's gonna be, but sure it'll be beautiful. And over here again, more irises that I'm not sure if they're done or not. And the hostas, the huge hostas, that these were getting some sun damage from Nick's car, but he started parking up a little bit further, so they're doing a little bit better now. My geraniums, and some of the leaves are starting to turn yellow, but that's okay. A lot of times, plants have life cycles just like we do. So if the leaves start to turn yellow, that could just mean that was the first leaf on the plant. So this one just needs to be deadheaded. And then the more you deadhead and get the dead stuff out of there, the more it will produce live stuff. But if you have an issue with your geraniums just completely dying, even though you're doing everything the right way, try repotting them in new soil. Sometimes when you buy geraniums, the soil that they're put in isn't the best for outdoor plants, so try repotting them and see how they do that. Over here next to the tree, our ice plant is doing just wonderful. And again, I would love it if this spread out into the yard, because this is such great ground coverage, and this mixed with the wild violets and the geraniums and stuff that we get in our yard would just create so much biodiversity, and they would be beautiful together. The cottage rose, which needs deadheading. And these, even though this is dry, this flower right here is dead, it's still really pretty. So if you're into drying flowers, this would be a good one for you, because this, to me, this is still really pretty even though it's dried up. The Russian sage, which again, it smells so beautiful, and it's great to put into, you can take like the dry part like this and put it into fires and stuff, and it will help repel insects if you have like a bonfire. The moss rose, which looks similar to the ice plant, is doing good. Some deadheading. And then over here, the lilies that got trampled by the squirrels. This one's doing good. This one's completely dead. And this one is on its side. So I'm just going to leave those, and hopefully at least one of them survives. I know they'll come back next year because they're ball plants, but hopefully the squirrels find a different way to run up the tree. Over here on the front of the house, we have our chives that are getting lots of shoots in them. Remember last week I only had one little shoot in here, and now it's getting lots, so that's exciting. Gonna have lots of beautiful globe-like flowers on there. The peony tree, it is lively and well. The marigolds, and this has what looks like chickweed in it. I'll leave it. the birds like it. So marigold pot, and hopefully soon these will start getting a lot bigger and will start blossoming. This one I have a mix of marigolds, forget-me-nots. I think I might have even put some black-eyed Susans in there. I have another plant here that again I got from the lady that volunteered, or the lady that works at the place I volunteer at. Aren't these pretty? The leaves kind of look like marijuana leaves, but that's not marijuana. And it's legal in New York anyways, so. But beautiful. These are called cleomes, and they're gorgeous. Over here we have the irises that I haven't cut back yet, and there's some weeds in here too, but who cares. Tiger lilies. That, again, the other day I only had one shoot, but there's lots now. The bleeding geraniums that are starting to die off for the season. And over here we have the lilies. These ones haven't opened up yet. We have the hostas, which again I have this vine that's growing in here, but I'm not sure what it is. It looks to me like a morning glory vine, but I never planted morning glories over here. So then underneath the hosta leaves we have our hens and chicks. We have some more lilies here. One's gotten eaten up, and then this one has a bud on it, so hopefully that'll blossom soon. Over here again, I don't weed right here because of the cactus spines. So this area will have more biodiversity. That's fine. Yeah, this one continues to get eaten. I think it's getting eaten by mites. At first it was eaten by an animal, and yeah. So I'm just gonna let the mites have that one. These two are doing okay for the cactuses. And then this one, look at this guy. He's doing so good. He's got a little baby cactus on him. Or her, I guess. The rose bush. This will get more blossoms on it. I just deadheaded it a couple days ago. And it has the gypsy moth damage, so it's probably recovering from that before it produces more buds, but it will get more buds on it. It's a knockout rose bush, so it will blossom continuously. We have more hostas that are starting to get shoots on them, so those will have some nice pretty flowers. Our chrysanthemum that was supposed to be an annual but decided to come back. More hostas. Sunflowers. This is the knockout rosebush that I rescued from Walmart that was just about dead, or they were letting it die, and they had it on clearance for $5. And now look at it. It's gorgeous. Over here, more sunflowers. Some of the lilies have started to open up. And this one I transplanted from the wild bed behind the house because it popped up last year, but it didn't blossom because I think it was kind of starved out by all the other stuff that's over there. But here it's doing great. So here is the apple tree, and as you can see, we have the apples are still doing good. 1, 2, 3. There's another one here. 4. There's about 5 or 6 apples on here. The 3, this one, and this one are the ones I'm most hopeful for because they are big and healthy. And these won't be ready until probably September. This is one of our first year apple trees that had a lot of the gypsy moth damage on it. But it's getting lots of new growth. It's grown about 6 inches since it started getting leaves, so it's very good. And next year we'll probably get a couple of apples off this one too. And then our other first year apple tree over on the other side of the property. This one, and it has one of them on there now. The gypsy moths are fucking terrible. Like, I'm usually all about live and let live, but not the gypsy moths. They can go away. But again, this one's getting lots of new growth. It's windy. Lots of new growth here. Again, this one's also grown about 6 inches since it started getting leaves on it. So hopefully next year we'll get some apples on this one too. Here by the edge of our property, I wanted to show you guys the bee hotel. And this, see how it has the little holes in it? The bees go in there and they put nesting material in there. They don't create a hive on this, but it does create a temporary place for them to kind of rest. So it'll help keep bees in your yard or in your garden. And I have this one close to the ground because the size of the holes for this are conducive to bees that like to nest near the ground. And I also, right here, I have the honeybee attractant. So hopefully that'll help start attracting some honeybees. It's just a little vial with nectar or something in there. Something to attract the bees that you just tie onto the tree. And I kind of wish that it was a little bit more natural rather than the plastic and the zip or twist tie. But I didn't know when I bought it that that's what it was going to be like. But I have it right above the little bee house or bee hotel, so hopefully we'll start to get more bees in our yard. And I wanted to give you guys just a quick view of how Nick's stuff's doing. He has his blueberry bushes that look like they're going to be getting ripe soon. He has his squash and his peas in the middle here. He also has some basil growing someplace in there. So this is all looking healthy. He has his corn up front there and his chives, and everything's looking good for him. And his little tree here, his little blueberry tree, looks like it's starting to get better since he cut it back more. So hopefully they'll get a lot more new growth and it'll continue to be healthy. So that's it for today's garden tour, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like these videos, if you want to see more, hit the like button and subscribe. It would really help me out. And I hope to see you next week. Bye.